Welcome back to the Morning Blend Extra. We're joined by Natalie Heiser once again of Barber, Tobin, Ramon, and Barber. My bad on that one, Natalie.
First.
Yeah, I know.
We
got to put your
that last time.
I know. I think maybe we have to put your name up there. So, starting things off here, the last time we were here, we sort of talked about this, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more and kind of further the conversation here. So, first things first, what is an estate and sort of like, do I have an estate? What sort of is that?
So your estate is anything that you own. It could be just your vehicle. If you're a homeowner, it's that. It doesn't have to be a big fancy mansion, and most of the times it's not.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think that people kind of have an idea
They think estate planning is just for like really fancy people or like the uber wealthy people.
Right, yeah.
And people usually think that about trusts too. Which really, if you own a home, you're a good candidate to have a trust.
Yes.
Because a trust helps you avoid probate, and if you have real estate, you're going to go to probate whether you have a will or not.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So, then next step here, what is estate planning?
So it's just a series of documents where we're actually making a plan. Right, because if we fail to plan, then we kind of plan to fail.
Right.
Not to be too quippy about it, but it's a series of documents, so it's not just a will. I have people that call up my office and they say, "How much for just a will?" And I always think, you're asking the wrong question.
Yes.
So we have our estate planning, I guess we call them bundles or packages, where it's a few documents, and a will might be the foundation of those.
Gotcha.
But then you need your deed and your powers of attorney and your HIPAA release and all that good stuff. So that whole set of documents, document suite, if you will, that becomes your estate plan.
Very interesting.
So we have it where the will is the foundation or the trust is the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, you're kind of going through all these terms, but why would somebody really want an estate plan?
So with an estate plan, if you do the full estate plan, you don't do, just a will, so to speak, then the powers of attorney, those are convenience documents and emergency documents during your life. So to sort of plan for whatever life may throw at you while you're alive. And then your will or your trust, those are the documents for after you're gone, so that your loved ones are still okay after you're gone.
Yes.
So an estate plan would give you protection and help and convenience now, and then continue for your loved ones after you pass away.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of that thought of foresight, always a very important thought there. And, obviously, again, thinking about that forethought, for that foresight, how often should somebody kind of review their plans and go over, make any changes or anything like that?
Yeah, so sometimes it happens naturally. I have a client, and we have a real estate closing for this client next week. He and his wife, they own a small business, and so I helped them with some business things. We got their LLC started, because I do that work too. And then, they got married, had some kids, bought a house, and we did their estate planning. And now they're buying an investment property. And so we naturally get to check in, because let's say I wrote their trust a couple years ago, and then next week they're buying more property.
Right.
They're going to have a natural conversation with me, because it follows that, well, how should I take title to this property?
Right.
Oh, we're going to put it in that trust we drafted for you. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, at the real estate closing, or just because now we've interacted, because we're all so busy, then we'll probably have a conversation about the rest of their documents.
Right.
So I would say about if you have an estate plan, every 3 to 5 years, it's a good idea to check in. Major changes in life, like a birth, a death, a retirement, maybe you move. And then just to check in with your lawyer, because maybe the law has changed.
Yes.
The wheels of justice turn very slowly, and in the transactional world, even more slowly sometimes. So that's not quite often the case. But for some of my clients where we're doing tax minimization, so if they're kind of in the multi-million-dollar range, there are some bills to be passed on the books down in DC that could affect these tax planning trusts. So, and we do free consultations for that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, certainly that's wonderful.
Just to check in.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Nice little cherry on top there. Right. Never bad
We'll give
thing.
you a quote. It's like getting your car fixed. Quotes are free.
Yeah.
The work's not free, but I won't make you buy an air filter. So.
Yeah. Gosh, I'll tell you, those air filters, man, they're always trying to upsell
They get you with that. They show it to you, and I'm like, I don't know. Do I need a new one?
Yeah. And you're talking about all of these milestones here, and obviously you're not just talking about kind of that end of life milestone. So when is it really a good idea to kind of get started on an estate plan?
Yeah, so honestly, if you're a kid and you're about to go off to college, you may not want this, but your parents are going to want this for you, where you, the 18-year-old kid, so when you're 18,
Yep.
you would be the client and you would name one or both of your parents or whoever your trusted adults are as your power of attorney for healthcare, so that if you have an accident while away at college, your parents can actually help you in real time,
Gotcha.
even from far away.
Yeah.
And then that power of attorney for property, the only way that your parents can technically like check on your grades or pay your tuition or do anything having to do with your stuff is through that power of attorney for property. Because
Wow.
once you're 18, it's your stuff, and
Yeah.
your parents can't get in.
Wow.
So I have parents that say, "Hey, kid, you're doing this."
Yeah, absolutely.
At least for the property one for grades.
Yes,
But,
holy cow.
at the very least, the healthcare one is really important, so
Yeah.
that parents have peace of mind sending those kids off to college.
Yeah.
And then if you own a vehicle or any significant, what we call personal property, you should have a will. And if you're a homeowner or you own some land or anything that we consider real property, you should have a trust
Yeah.
to avoid probate.
And then obviously, talking about this stuff, it can sometimes be a touchy subject for some people. So for you guys over there, how do you guys help guide your clients, through that process comfortably?
Yeah, so I usually let the client start the conversation. In our little client intake form, it kind of says something to the effect of like, well, who referred you to us and why are you here? And then people will say, talk about a trust or will versus trust or estate plan, or I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
So then I say, let me tell you why you're here.
Right.
But I usually kind of let the clients take the lead, and I sort of say, well, what can you tell me? What do you want
Right.
to talk about? And then we talk about as much or as little as the client is comfortable with.
Right, right.
Sometimes people are just shopping and they just want to decide if I'm the right lawyer for them, which is fine. So then it almost becomes an interview, which
Gotcha.
I'm fine with.
Right.
Sometimes they're just wanting to get educated. So maybe they forgot to tune in today.
Yes.
And then I almost do what we're doing now,
Yeah,
like a
absolutely.
private estate planning seminar
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah,
Some people
absolutely.
are just ready. You
Yes.
know, they're like, hey, I'm burning daylight. Where do I sign?
Hey, and you're good at it too, so that's
Oh,
always a
thank
plus there
you.
too. Yes, absolutely. Well, hey, that is all the time that we have here for our interview. Natalie, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
having me.
again for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. And if you're looking for help in putting together an estate plan, you can check out Tobin, Ramon, and Barber at 530 South State Street in Belvedere, or you can head to tobinramon.com. Natalie, thank you so much again for coming on to the show.
Thank you.